All right, war seems to be coming, but when will it hit? Let's talk about the new episode of Chief of War. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today we're talking about Chief of War Episode 5, Race of the Gods, which comes to Apple TV Plus on August 22nd, 2025. Fifth episode in Chief of War. We are starting to see some war brewing. When will it hit? Well, sometime later, not in this episode, but my hot take is I think you should watch this one later, actually. I didn't love this episode. It was good. It wasn't great. I've loved the first kind of four episodes. I think, yeah, four episodes. This one was just okay. It's a slow episode that sets up a lot of conflict down the line. It seems like we are laying the groundwork for things to happen down the line. But there's some interesting interactions between the two storylines. There is, a lot of drama and, again, and some setup for some new conflicts. But again, that all seems to be happening later. So I think you should watch it later. I still think you should watch this series. It's been a good series so far, but I didn't love this episode as much as I've loved the others. So, well, that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode. A few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, and you might not, there are some surprises along the way. I would turn it off when we get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. Let you know when we get to those spoilers. So King of War Episode 5 continues after what happened in Episode 4. Remember, Kayani saved his friend, got the guns, got off of the island, and now they are heading back to Hawaii. Do they make it? And what happens in Hawaii while they are doing this? Well, you have to watch the episode to find out. So, things I liked about this episode. The first, I liked the merging stories. It seems like the two storylines, which I really liked from the other episodes, they kind of kept the pace of the episode going. It seems to be merging. It seems like we are seeing the fruits of both of those stories kind of start to intertwine here, which was a lot of fun. And the second thing I loved, I like the new conflicts. There are some new conflicts brewing. I like the war aspect of Chief of War, so it seems like we are finally starting to get back to that part. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much. It's a slow episode, very slow. Again, not. It seems like conflicts are brewing, but they don't actually boil over. So there's a lot of setup. There is, some interpersonal aspects here as well, which are interesting, but not the most interesting. So overall, I thought the pace was a little bit slower, despite the kind of like exciting ending. Second thing I didn't love as much. Again, it's a setup episode. It feels like we are laying the groundwork here, and it kind of feels like we've had a couple of setup episodes, really, really strong, war-filled start. Now it feels like we are getting ready for some future conflicts. When will they hit? I don't know. Sometime in the next four episodes. The last thing I didn't love as much, I didn't love the ending. It was interesting. It just felt a little bit too, I don't know, movie-esque. I don't know if that's actually what happened. I don't know if that is how some aspect of the story was decided, but it felt a little bit too much like a made-for-Hollywood type ending. So, all that being said, Chief of War Episode 5 comes to Apple TV Plus on August 22nd, 2025. Like I said, I think you should watch it later, but if you're this far in, you should watch this episode because you're going to need to watch it because there are going to be more things down the line. So if you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens this episode, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So this episode has kind of like two, I don't know, main-ish storyline, or three kind of like main storylines. But I'm going to start with the Kamehameha's camp. They're trying to figure out how to unite Hawaii. It seems like Kamehameha doesn't want to like go to war against Keoa, but that maybe is inevitable. It seems like Kahumanu, his new wife, is going to be a key figure. She seems to really understand the politics and really be able to kind of like get people to coordinate. So, big event here. Kayani returns to Oahu with the sailors, with the captain, and the guns. He is greeted by Keimoku, the chief, I guess, Kaumanu's or Kamehameha's chief, and Kaumanu's father. He welcomes him back on, but says that the Pale Skins can't come ashore. But John, who has been in the island for a year, he has been kind of teaching them English, meets and says hi to everyone. They say like, "Hey," they say we can't come ashore. He's like, "Yeah, there's some conflict brewing here, so it's probably best." And like, "Hey, you want to come back on the ship? Have some of our, finer things that you have missed?" And he's probably like, "Hell no! Like, I don't want to go on this grungy, dirty ship." But he's like, "No, no. My best role is here on the island," which is true. He is trusted. He is able to interact. He's able to kind of like be an interpreter between the two groups. So it is good that he's there. But I also like, look, do you want to go in Hawaii? You want to stay in Hawaii, or do you want to go on this like grungy, gross ship that probably smells terribly and has rats? Pretty easy choice. So Kupo hears about Kayani back, and so she goes to see them as well. She embraces Kayani and seems like she's really happy he's back. Like he is her husband, I guess, still, maybe, or whatever they are. And poor Namake, they had just hooked up. He had just seemed to like get what he wanted. He had given her a gift. It seemed like they were going to be a thing, and now Kayani's back. Namake gets very quiet, as you would imagine. But he doesn't raise a stink, it seems. It seems like he is going to weep and kind of suffer silently. So Kayani then asks to join Kamehameha's council, but Keomoku rejects it. Basically, he says, like, you were the chief of Kalikili and you turned your back. That is not someone that we would want to trust. But Kayani really wants to help. I mean, he brought the guns back to help. So he doesn't tell them about the guns, but eventually he goes to talk to Kamehameha one-on-one with the help of Kawamanu, and it seems like Kamehameha will give him a chance. Kamehameha is really shown here as a farmer. He is like grabbing crops while they are talking. He is talking about food. It seems like he understands he has to keep the people happy. He has to keep the people fed to be kind of like a good leader. So he is really kind of a cultivator here. Now, it is later decided that they will, decide whether Kayani can join the council with a race, a like sled race down a hill. It feels very like Star Wars Episode 1 pod racer-esque, but essentially it is a race down this newly discovered route, which is just down a hill and on a ramp. That's weird. They say like it's newly discovered from our ancient tomes. No one has done this before, but then it's fully paved. I guess maybe they paved it in the interim. Feels like if it's a fully paved race, people would have known about it. But in any event, they have a race down this newly discovered path. They're riding these like sleds that seem to be adjustable, so you can like adjust it wide to have more stability, but you can get it closer so it's less friction, and so you can go faster and have less wind resistance. But that then causes more of these rocks that's paved with to come up and hit your knuckles, which hurts. It also makes you more unstable, so you could fall. So Kayani, Kamehameha, and Kayani's like I think his brother, and then like Namake. They all go to race and they jump on this and they're all doing well. Kamehameha takes a lead. Kayani's trying to hold up. Eventually, Namake and his brother they try, but the rocks hurt their fingers and they eventually spill out. So it's just Kamehameha and Kayani. Kayani goes all in. He pushes it close. He speeds down. He puts his head down to get less wind resistance. He has more hair than me, so he has more resistance. If he really wanted to commit, he should have shaved his head. Then he would have been nice and smooth, straight down there. Maybe I could have won the race. I don't know. But he eventually takes the lead. Kayani gets off the ramp first. He plunges into the ocean right after Kamehameha, or right before Kamehameha. When they get down there, Kamehameha's like, "You're crazy! You went all in!" He's like, "Yeah, YOLO!" Then they hug, and it seems like Kayani is now going to be on Kamehameha's council. So later, Kayani, seems like a good decision because Kayani takes Keimoku to the guns, and he shows him the guns. He's like, "We got fire now. We're gonna win!" And boom goes the dynamite. So seems like the Oahu people, at least the ones on the Kamehameha side, have guns. Now, another storyline that happens on Oahu, Waiana, the Hawaiian lady who helped Kayani in the Philippines, she is now ashore. She goes to see her son. She goes to a village. She sees a kid. Seems like that's her son. He kind of like looks at her. She smiles, and that's it. We don't get anything else. It's a very short scene. We also see some dude like who looks really yoked. He's got like washboard stomach. He's also in this scene. That may be her ex-husband or the father of her son. We don't get any context. It's just like basically she walks up. We see some ripped dude. We see some kid playing soccer or whatever the equivalent is. And then she looks at him. She looks at the ripped dude. She looks at the son. The son smiles. She smiles. That's it. So over on the kind of like other side, we see, and this is how the episode starts and finishes, but because it finishes this way, I'm going to do it last. So Keoa seems like he's going to bring war to the island to get the full chief, and he's still pissed. Remember, he punched his tooth out earlier because he was so angry. Now he's so angry he is like staying over a volcano and burns his skin in anger. So it feels like he's going to bring warfare on his own people to get the throne. And later, it seems like this plays out because he starts burning some food stores. So we see, Kamehameha always cultivating, making sure the people have food. He cultivated, I think it was yucca roots or something like that to feed the people. Those are all stored in these grass huts. And Keoa then goes and burns a good chunk of them. It seems like he is burning the food stores, trying to like bring war to his own people, which is not good because they need the food, and also when Kaikili attacks, they will need the food. This is exactly what happened when um Keoa's father asked Kamehameha, like, what would you do if Kaikili attacks? And Kamehameha was like, I would make sure we have food because we can then hold out on a siege and we'll be able to fight back. And Keoa didn't seem to understand this, and now it seems like that is playing out. He is going to burn the food stores to hurt his own people so he can get the chiefdom, but that will ultimately hurt them all because when Kalikili attacks, they're not going to have food. So we will see what happens. That is how this episode ends. That is Chief of War episode 5. Like I said, I think you should watch it later. It is a good episode. It's just not as good as the other ones. And questions slash predictions, it seems like there will be war on Oahu. It seems like there will be some sort of conflict. My guess is Kamehameha and Kiowa are going to fight. I don't think they're going to have a full-on conflict. They can't afford it with the people. And also, I don't think Kamehameha wants to see more people killed. Kiowa might want to, but I don't think Kamehameha will. So they will probably fight. I assume KO will take a lead because he's a better fighter, and then Kamehameha will eventually use his Kamehameha-ness, Kamehameha KO, and he will eventually win. But that will happen later. And also, will Kamehameha use the guns? Maybe he'll use the guns. Maybe he'll say, like, look, I've got guns. I should be the chief. We'll see. How far will KO go? Like, again, I think he would do a lot. It seems like he is very determined to be the chief, so he might start killing people, and that might force Kamehameha's hand. Again, we'll have to find out next episode. And again, will Oahu be okay when Kalikili arrives? Because Kalikili will come. He knows that now they are vulnerable. Seems like he is going to attack. Will they be okay? Will they have the food? Will they have the people? Will they have the alliances? We'll have to see. And what is Namake going to do? What is Kupoa going to do? It seems like Kupoa is now back with Kayani. Is Namake going to allow this? Is Namake going to, be angry about this? He does like go into the ocean. It seems like it looked like he's going to commit suicide at that point because he takes off all of his clothes, he goes into the ocean, but then he comes back out. So it seems like he is suffering in silence, but we will see if that boils over. But that is Chief of War episode 5. If you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.